4-week Cinderella run of Hawk Hallis came to an end last week.
It was really a lot of fun for Hawk Hallis. He knew that it wasn't going to get any easier as he moved up the ladder. Even though last week's competition wasn't especially high scoring, apparently the pressure finally got to him, and it was Rob Berkiel who comes now to face Mike Morgan today.
The top 3 seeds still alive in our Tournament of Champions as we head down the home stretch. Let's meet the bowlers who will compete this afternoon. Our 3rd seed and winner last week, Rob Berkiel from Millbury, Massachusetts.
We'll have a look at Rob once again right now. His average coming into today's action is 130. His high single 189, high triple 487. He bowls at a couple of centers, Colonial Bowl in Worcester and the Thunderbird Bowl.
And he defeated Hawk Hallis 358 to 345 last week. And he will take on our 2nd seed, Mike Morgan from Revere, Massachusetts.
And all of the North Shore is here to root on Mike Morgan. You can hear him. Average 126, high single 193, high triple is 474, a 35-year bowling veteran.
It's the semifinal, if you will. 1 match to go in our Tournament of Champions. Gary Carrington, the top seed, waiting in the wings to face the winner of this match for all of the marbles next week. Let's get right to it. It's Morgan and Berkiel as Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues from Lido Lanes in Nashua on WNDS TV 50. We'll be back with today's match right after this. We begin our Tournament of Champions with 7 ladder winners. 4 have fallen by the wayside. The top 3 remain. You saw Hawk Hallis go on a 3-week run, eliminating Clark, Ashline, and Leach. Then it was Berkiel beating Hallis last week. Now it's Rob Berkiel taking on Mike Morgan in the semifinal match with Gary Carrington waiting to take on the winner. It'll be Rob Berkiel first to bowl in this match against Mike Morgan. At Lido Lanes in Nashua, Dick Lutz with Mike Moran. Happy to have you with us for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50. Berkiel's first ball right in the pocket.
Pretty low-scoring match next week. I predict that will not be the case today and next Sunday as we head into the final 2 weeks of the big Tournament of Champions.
Berkiel starts out with a spare. Last week it was 358 to 345 with Berkiel downing Hawk Hallis. Hallis having won 3 matches in a row, coming from the 7th seed, eliminating numbers 6, 5, and 4. Right again in the pocket, breaking up the split. Great crowd on hand at Lido Lanes for our Tournament of Champions.
And you can always count on extra people in the audience when either Tom or Mike Morgan is involved. And that's what we have today.
Now Berkiel missing the spare opportunity right there. We have really told you during the course of the year about the great accommodations put out here at Lido Lanes by Ray Simoneau and Sean Howard and the staff at Lido Lanes. The coffee and donuts are always here, and the crowd loves getting here early and mingling and spending the day when we tape. And we look forward to another year with you on WNDS TV in the fall. We'll keep you posted on the schedule of events coming up after the Tournament of Champions. Now Mike Morgan. Right in the pocket. In the open, I introduced him from Revere. He is from Lynn.
But he's thinking of moving to Revere.
He visits his brother, Tom, in Revere. Missed the spare. The wood was too far out in front. Looked good from here, didn't it? When you saw that wood, you said, can't miss, but the wood was too far out in front, and he has to settle for a 10 box. Mike Morgan is 41 years old. He works for General Electric in Lynn, preparing engines for assembly. Right on the headpin and right through the headpin. Mike and his wife Kathleen have a son, Mike, age 12. We were talking about the weather breaking and his finally being able to get out on the golf course before too long. That's one of his hobbies, as is softball and all other athletic activities. Very athletic family. He has to settle for a 7 box in the second frame, falling 10 pins behind in the early going.
Our runner-up today is going to take home a check for $400, and the winner, the right to bowl our top seed in the Tournament of Champions, Gary Carrington.
Here's Berkiel. That one got away from him.
No damage, though, not on a spare.
Rob's 30 years old. He's a materials coordinator for Polaris Computers in Marlboro. Again, right through the head pin, still 5 pins standing. He has a 2-year-old son, Devin. He was the top seed in ladder 6, defeating Bob Whitcomb in the championship match, 409 to 374. While, as Mike Moran mentioned in our open, that Mike Morgan came all the way from the 5th seed in the 3rd ladder series as Berkiel buries a strike. Watch this strike red again in the pocket, and they all go at once. Morgan came from number 5 to win the 3rd ladder, and he beat his brother Tom in the championship match, 420 to 370.
The only bowler in our 7 ladder series to come all the way from the number 5 seed, all the way to win it all. He starts out in a little bit better position this time around as the number 2 seed in the Tournament of Champions ladder.
In that 3rd ladder series, Morgan defeated Bruce Young in the 1st match. With a 405 to Young's 349. Then he defeated Glenn LeBlanc 397 to 365. Next in line was Brian Uphold at 369 to 359. And then the championship match with Mike, the number 5 seed, beating top seed brother Tom by 50 pins, 420 to 370. And brother Tom, of course, here leading the cheers for Mike in this match.
Does not appear to be very pleased with the array of wood which he must use. Carefully calculating the angles.
Well, I'm not sure what I would do here either. I think I might go way to the left of that wood out in front and take my chances. That's what he's doing, and he missed it.
So it's the lone soldier in the corner, hoping for another 10 box.
And that's what he's got. And he is falling behind in the early going. Rob Berkiel is up 7 pins plus the fill on the strike coming up here. Berkiel in the 6th ladder, he was the top seed. As everybody beat up everybody else getting to him, it was Bob Whitcomb beating Jim Orlandi, then Whitcomb over Neil Goslin. Whitcomb advanced, beating Scott Creighton in the semifinal match, and then it was Berkiel over Whitcomb, 409 to 374. So Berkiel will put an 8 in the strike, and he has a 15-pin lead.
Pull out the old trivia sheet, Mr. Lutz.
Oh, I'm ready.
We didn't do any last week, as we had actually promised, because we got involved in a discussion about the state of the Candlepin bowling industry. So our first question to you and everybody listening and watching today is, what bowler have we seen most in the regular 28-week season of Candlepin Stars and Strikes? What one bowler appeared more frequently than anybody else?
Nice spare for Rob Berkiel. Well, let me ask you to clarify the question. Does that mean more appearances in different ladders, or climbing?
Most total appearances. Separate broadcasts. Still falling.
Atkins was in 3 different ladder series. Won 1 match, so he was on 4 times.
Great effort on the mess, leaving the 9 and the 10.
Counting today? Are we counting today?
No, we're stopping
today.
at the end of the first 28 weeks before the Tournament of Champions. That's 3 10s in a row for Lynn's Mike Morgan.
Well, Mike Morgan came from number 5 and won 4 matches.
But then, of course, he didn't come back because he was already seeded. I can tell you that the top person we've seen 7 times.
There's 7 different times. All right, that'll take some thinking on my part, and I promise not to look. Nice spare from Mike Morgan in the 6th to match the Berkiel spare in the 6th. Oh, how about Tom?
That's the answer.
Tom Morgan.
Tom Morgan.
Tom, sure.
There you go. I mean, think about it. He was on for a quarter of our broadcasts, 7 out of 28.
Climbed the ladder a couple of times.
I think he lost 2 or maybe 3 championship attempts. 2 at least.
Well, we've
maybe
got it
3.
right here. As Berkiel missed the spare.
Yeah, the wood was not at all helpful to him. 9 for the box.
Tom Morgan was in the championship match in the 5th ladder series. He appeared 3 times in that series, beating Sean McKinley and Bob Betancourt before losing to Rich Clark.
Half Worcester taken out by Berkiel on the left side.
Morgan was in the championship match in the 3rd ladder series. That's the one he lost to his brother. And he was also in the 2nd championship. And that's the one he lost to Joe Ashline. So a big spare there for Rob Berkiel. Watch it again as after the half Worcester, he picked up the tough 8-pin spare.
So after Tom Morgan at 7 appearances, we have a tie for 2nd place. Jeff Atkins, who you mentioned, at 5 appearances, and Bob Whitcomb, who we saw a few weeks ago, also at 5.
Morgan in the spare, only 3.
Things are conspicuously quiet here compared to how they normally are when Mike or Tom Morgan bowl here. Because he hasn't put up too many marks yet.
That's a nice 10 box for Mike Morgan, who trails by 17 pins. Plus, he's up against a Rob Berkiel spare in the 8th frame. He needs a spare just to stay 17 pins behind. Right on the head pin, right through the head pin.
One thing I wanted to mention is how much money we will have given away by the time the Tournament of Champions
Did you do all the math?
is over. Yeah, so everything is subject to verification.
And it's an 8 box for Mike Morgan.
During the regular season, Dick, 28 weeks, 7 ladders, the regular season money excluding bonus money, $14,175. We're giving away $32.50 in the Tournament of Champions for a grand total of $17,425 for our bowlers this year.
There's a strike inside the spare for Berkiel.
That may be the fastest strike I've ever seen.
That was a bullet.
Wow.
Didn't take long, did it?
Taking advantage of Mike Morgan's lone spare in this game by putting up his 5th mark.
All right, on the pocket again, but not able to convert. We have in our triple strike jackpot, we will carry over $1,250 today, and there's $80 in the bonus ball contest. He'll put 8 in the strike.
It will be over 130. 33.
133 for Rob Berkiel in the first string. Morgan needs a mark or two to stay in sight. He's on the head pin a little too full, but he will break up the split. He will take them all.
Well, Dick, we went from seeing the fastest strike to seeing the slowest strike.
What a contrast.
Both
Watch
men
it
doing
again if we have enough time. There they go. It takes a while. It kicks them all.
We had to use the reverse of slow-mo just to get it done in time to get back to the live action here.
Very. Now Morgan with a big strike.
Double hammer.
Missed the head pin. On the strike. He will put 8 in the strike.
He'll be down nearly 30 pins. Tough spot to be in.
106 first string for Tom Morgan. For Mike Morgan, I should say, and a 27-pin lead for Rob Berkiel as we head to the middle string in our semifinal match in the Tournament of Champions on Candlepin Stars and Strikes from WNDS TV 50. Mike Morgan will be first to bowl in our second string here this afternoon in our semifinal match in the Tournament of Champions. He trails by 27 pins after the first string to Rob Berkiel, 133 to 106.
Hawk Hallis proved a few weeks ago that 30 pins is nothing when he came from 51 pins behind in his match with Joe Ashline.
66 pins with 8 frames to go in the third string, and Hallis came back to win the match by 2. A 68-pin turnaround in 8 boxes, and Michael threw the ball away that time and has to settle for a 9 box. That's a tough miss for him. Mike in the pocket again, went across to the Brooklyn side and left a tough spare leave. I'm going to tell you about the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge right after Mike finishes this box.
Going to make us hungry, huh?
Right next door to the Leda Lanes in Nashua. There's Mike, there's a spare.
Beauty.
How do you figure it? He misses the single pin and makes the tough one. Big spare from Mike Morgan. Watch it again as he picked up the split. Well, the wood in contact with the 2 pin certainly helped him out there, but nonetheless a nice spare for Mike Morgan. Now Rob Berkiel on the head pin. Will take them all. A strike for Berkiel. You're not giving me time to tell you about the Kahala Chinese Restaurant as Berkiel buries a strike in response to the spare from Mike Morgan.
We could say that strike brought to you by the Kahala.
Berkiel on the strike. Has another spare opportunity with the wood set up nicely for him. This is one that Mike Morin could make.
Again, thanks for your confidence, Dick.
Maybe. Look at this. Mike Morin could make it. Rob Berkiel couldn't. How did he miss that? With the wood set up the way it was, I did not think it was missable.
I'll teach you to patronize me.
Takes a 9 on the strike, a 9 box for Rob Berkiel. That is one I thought was an automatic.
It looked like it'd be in the bag, didn't it? This game never ceases to amaze even the most seasoned viewers and participants. It's the beauty of this great game.
There's Morgan in the spare with a 6 fill. If you're in the Nashua area, if you're driving down Amherst Street, if you're hungry, stop in at the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge. It's right next door to Lita Lane's, and it's where we go when we come to do our taping sessions at Lita Lane's for Candlepin Stars and Strikes. $7 for Mike Morgan. Stop by, say hi to Andy or Mona or Sandy, and enjoy the terrific luncheon buffet as we do every time. It's really diverse. It's very, very enjoyable. And if you are at all in love with Chinese food as we are, you will enjoy the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge. It's at 350 Amherst Street, Route 101A in Nashua. If you're coming from the south, exit 7W off the Everett Turnpike. If you're coming from the Manchester area, it's exit 8. And if you know where Lita Lane's is, then you have found the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge, because it's right next door. If you'd like to call in and order to go, the number is 889-5200. 603-889-5200 is the order to call, and they'll be happy to deliver if you're in the Nashua area. So the next time you're hungry and you're looking for delicious Chinese food, stop by the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge. They have a banquet facility. They have entertainment on the weekends. And it is just a wonderful place. Your entire family will enjoy it. The Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge, 350 Amherst Street, Route 101A in Nashua. 889-5200 is the phone number.
A couple of 7s for Mike Morgan, and Rob Berkiel unable to take advantage of that uncharacteristic bowling by Mike Morgan.
A $7 for Berkiel. 7s are wild. Missing the head pin and leaving the 4 horsemen on the left side. Berkiel carries a 27-pin lead into the second string. Thus far, box to box, he's added 4 to it. Missing the spare here. But he's up against a 7, so he'll add at least a couple of pins to it. A $9. 45 through 4. We'll take a break. Rob Berkiel has added 6 pins to his lead. He leads by 33 as we near the halfway point of this match as the Tournament of Champions continues on WNDS TV 50. Mike Morgan ready to go to hit the 5th frame of the second string. Mike is trailing by 33 pins in this semifinal match with Rob Berkiel. He had a 106 in the first string to Berkiel's 133. And Berkiel's added 6 pins to that advantage. Morgan on the head pin, leaves a tough split.
A lot of folks might wonder how to join the Pro Tour, the WCBC. In just a moment, I'll give you an address. Over the course of the summer, you might want to consider becoming a professional bowler if you've got an average in a certain area that we'll tell you about here in just a moment.
Where do I sign? $9 for Morgan.
Of course, you don't need to be a WCBC member to bowl on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. You just need to show up at the various qualifying rounds, which is a lot easier said than done. But to join the WCBC, get in touch with Tony Zernicke at Post Office Box 545 in Webster, Mass. 01570. That's WCBC, Post Office Box 545, Webster, Mass. 01570. If you are a lady, you must have an average of at least 102. If you're a man, you need an average of 112 or better.
Spare for Morgan in the 6th box. You bring up a point, by the way, about the appearances on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. As you watch this match, and as it is repeated during the course of the summer months, and we prepare for our fall season, you may want to call Lita Lane's in Nashua to find out when the next roll-off will be, so that you don't miss out on an opportunity to be on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
First run date, of course, for today's broadcast is June the 7th. But most of our shows will be, of course, rerun again.
And the number at Leda Lanes is 889-4884. 603-889-4884. And you'll be brought up to date as to the scheduling for the next TV roll-off.
And keep an eye on your screen as September approaches for when the actual tapings will resume for the next season.
Berkiel coming off an 8-box.
He's had a tough go of it since the second frame. He had a strike to open things up, and he's not even had a mark. Now we're in the 6th frame.
Well, neither bowler is burning it up. 53.5 for Berkiel, a 48.5 for Morgan. Berkiel will be open again in the 6th frame, and Mike Morgan has an opportunity to cut into the lead. Sometimes from match to match, you wonder if they're using the same pins. Sometimes they just fly all over the place, and other times they seem like they're nailed to the floor.
That is so true. The Morgan boosters are getting a little boisterous, hoping to get Mike Morgan jump started here. He's not had a real good day so far.
Working on a spare. Didn't get a break. The wood is not bad. The wood is there. It is set up. It is. If it stays there, it's not bad, but it's not staying there.
He'd like it to turn a little bit more toward him. But a combination of ricochets and caroms might get the job done. End up capping the wood on the 7th.
Sit down, Mikey.
Didn't get either one.
Look at that.
Didn't get either one. That'll be an 8-box for Mike Morgan. Box to box, he's picked up 5 pins in the match, which means that Berkiel's lead is 22. On the head pin, a little full, and again leaving a tough spare. Not getting a lot of breaks. The 7-10 in the previous box, another split here. So he will be open again, and Rob Berkiel will have an opportunity. 9-box for Morgan, 83 through 8.
Chance for Berkiel to pile up a few more pins. He came in leading by 27 and has not been able to help himself very much this game. He could very easily have had a 50 or 60 pin lead because Morgan is still waiting for him.
Let's see if Berkiel takes advantage. He's on the head pin, but he leaves a tough spare. But the wood is angled in such a way, well, it depends on where it ends up. It's moving away. Well, that's a makeable shot with a deflection. If he hits the wood right and the ball deflects into the 10 pin, he could conceivably make the spare.
Well, sounds good on paper.
Looks good. I've got it all figured out. You have to keep your eyes on the ball here, though. And it did it.
Good call. I think next season we need to get TV 50 to get us a telestrator.
Watch it again.
So you can
He
do
played
the
it perfectly.
Dick Lutz diagrams for us, because that one was called perfectly.
Sit down, Bob.
On the strike, he only gets 5. On the spare, he only gets 5. He takes a 2-pin lead in the string, adds to his 27-pin first string advantage. And will he get the spare? Yes, he will. 2 spares in a row for Rob Berkiel. He'll have an opportunity for bonus money and a chance to add to his lead. It just tapped it, and it wiggled down. Morgan will get the strike. Buried in the 1-3 pocket. Well done. just cut that 10 pin.
But he is working for every pin today. He's gotten no gimmies.
Well, an 8-pin fill, but a tough spare.
Gonna need some luck here. It's the 3 and the 4 with 3 pieces of wood on the deck.
Hello, Mikey.
Will he get it coming back? He will not. He is at 110 and a 111 for Mike Morgan. You've got him at 112. It's 112. I stand corrected.
And at this point, he'll take every pin. Just a 4 fill for Berkiel, whose fills have not been all that great this game, other than his strike in the first.
Berkiel looking for bonus money, unable to collect. Rob's waiting for the wood. Like it to turn one more time and get over closer to the 10 pin, but it doesn't appear as though it will.
You'd probably really rather have just a straight, clean shot at it.
Well, he put it right through the opening, what little opening there was.
Now, without a mark, Mike Morgan gets a few pins back if Berkiel doesn't at least come up with a spare. Setting the stage for the final game, leading up to Gary Carrington next week.
Berkiel will have an opportunity for a mark here with the wood set up for him. Oh, not an easy shot.
Now, it may be deceiving, but may not be quite as good as it may appear.
Again, Rob waiting for the wood to settle down. Missed it.
There you go, because the piece of wood was not frozen against the 5. It just went right between the 5 and the 7.
So Morgan will pick up a few pins. A 5-pin win in the string for Morgan, a 22-pin lead for Rob Berkiel as we head to the final string in the semifinal match of the Tournament of Champions on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50. We would love to hear from you at Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. If you are so inclined and would like to drop us a note, there's the address. WNDS TV, 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. We are in 1.5 million homes throughout New England and Massachusetts and New Hampshire. We'd love to know where you are watching our telecasts of Candlepin Stars and Strikes and our Tournament of Champions. So drop us a note at 50 Television Place, Derry. And we'd love to hear from you. Rob Berkiel starts the 3rd string. With our cable penetration now at over 1.5 million homes, it would be nice to know at what outposts we are reaching, and where people are watching Candlepin bowling as Berkiel gets the 10. And our penetration is growing all the time as cable systems add WNDS TV 50. And if we're not on in your home area, if you're watching it from somewhere else, contact your cable company and tell them you would like to get WNDS TV 50 because you want to watch Candlepin Stars and Strikes, and you want to see the weather with Al Caprillion, and you want to see great movies during the course of the year.
Star Trek, Wheel of Fortune,
The Simpsons,
Jeopardy.
Lots of great shows.
Sit down, Bob.
Now Berkiel with the mark in the 2nd frame.
Nice shot, Bob.
So Morgan now starts the string with a 22-pin deficit.
Hammer, Mikey.
Missing the head pin.
It's Speaking of cable penetration, we're not seen in Michigan yet, are we?
Working on it.
Which is where my family is, but they're actually in town today for my daughter's graduation from Bishop Curtin High School, so. Talk nice about me, Dick, because
We could send him the tapes.
I love him, but not that much.
Morgan takes a 9. Now he's up against the Berkiel mark. And he has to at least match the Berkiel marks.
Starting out with a 22-pin deficit.
Hello, Mikey.
That's right in the pocket. Look at the 10-pin. It's leaning over. It won't go. It's still leaning.
It still is.
There it goes. It fell.
Now, how does that happen?
I don't know.
Would somebody please explain it to us? Are there any MIT physicists that can actually tell us how that
Hello,
happens?
Mikey. Hold your hello.
Right on the spare.
Right away, Mikey.
It was leaning, and it just didn't look like it was going to go. And then all of a sudden, it just went the rest of the way. Now Berkiel on a spare. In the pocket with 8. We have not given away any bonus money in this match. With two high-powered bowlers, you'd expect to break the bank, at least with bonus money, if not the triple strike jackpot. Berkiel with 2 marks in a row. Now a chance for bonus money.
Triple strike jackpot, I think you mentioned, is $12.50.
$12.50.
Doesn't get hit today. $12.75 next week. For the man who won it, the only time anybody's won it this year, Gary Carrington.
Berkiel right in the pocket that time. And another spare opportunity, and this should be our first bonus money. Again, that deadwood is rolling.
It's not great wood either. He'd rather go directly at it.
Well, the red stripe on the wood will take the spare. Rob waiting for the wood to settle down, and it finally does.
A deliberate, meticulous bowler. Which pays off, averaging 130 this year.
Hello, Bob.
Right on the spare. 3 marks in a row, $50 in bonus money
Here, Boogie.
for Rob Berkiel. Now Mike Morgan under the gun as Berkiel applies the pressure.
A true value hammer.
On the head pin, but not much to show for it.
The wood is not that great again. 4, 7, 9, 10.
Well, I would think you'd play the right of that wood that's out in front.
I think so.
Hope for deflection, and that other second piece of dead wood might help you out. Nope. And you see the frustration in Mike Morgan as he turns away.
Good night,
He'll
Mikey.
take a 9 box.
Yeah, he's
Well,
going to be running out of frames pretty soon here.
He's down 12 pins in the string in the corresponding box, so 34 in the match, but he's up against the Berkiel spare again in the 4th frame.
Hello, Mikey.
Right through it goes, taking 2 with it. And 2 more.
Well, he'll regroup during the commercial break and make the stretch run with 6 frames to go.
And a 7 box for Mike Morgan as we go to break with Rob Berkiel enjoying the lead and a ball to fill a mark when we come back to the Tournament of Champions from WNDS TV 50. Rob Berkiel is working on a spare as we go to the 5th frame of the 3rd string. He has 3 marks in a row and is ready to go, looking for some additional bonus money. Each additional mark is worth $20 for Rob Berkiel. Breaks up the split, puts 7 in the spare, and leaves himself a spare opportunity.
A runner-up today takes home a check for $400. Next week, of course, all the marbles, $1,500 top prize.
That's 4 marks in a row for Rob Berkiel as he applies the hammer. It would be one thing for Mike Morgan to run the table, but if Rob Berkiel continues to mark, he just puts himself out of reach.
He gave that one a little extra, and the ball went too far to the right for a 5-pin drop on the spare.
A 78 half for Rob Berkiel. And he missed this mark. So 4 marks in a row, $70 in bonus money, and the streak comes to an end. And a 7 box. The door is open, not very wide for Mike Morgan, but he really needs to run the table, as Hawk Hallis did, coming from 60-plus pins back a couple of weeks ago.
Hello, Mikey. Hello, Mikey.
That's one way to do it.
Well, there's a start.
Two more in a row would mean $1,250 in Mike Morgan's pocket.
And certainly a better prospect to going for the $1,500 next week.
It would do a lot to close the gap, wouldn't it?
Would indeed.
Double bogey.
Morgan on the head pin.
Double bogey. Come on.
Well, even if he gets a spare here, he'll make up another 8 or 10 pins on Berkiel, at least.
Hello, Mikey. I told you.
He will take the spare in the strike.
Thank God, yeah.
Well, he still trails in the game corresponding box, but he has a mark. So he has a chance to pull even in the game, but he's still down 22 pins coming into the match, into the 3rd string. Now Berkiel responds. He is tough.
He's giving a little extra, too. I think he's trying to put it into the next gear, throwing it just a bit harder.
That makes it difficult, doesn't it? We saw in the match in which Hallis came from 66 pins with 8 frames to go, Joe Ashline changed his approach and become a bit defensive. And Berkiel is not about to do that.
You just want to leave makeable spares. Hope that you don't punch out too much. Stay clean. It's a 3-6. He has a straight shot at it.
And he has the spare. That's the 6th frame, 6th spare in the 8 frames he has bowled in the 3rd string. So he has really shut the door on Mike Morgan.
Hello, bogey.
Morgan in the head pin will take 7.
He really does need to take it off the sheet here, doesn't he, Dick?
Yep. And he'll miss that spare, and that'll cost him dearly. A 9 box. This match is just about over.
Unless he can throw a pile of strikes here.
Missing the head pin right there. That'll be a nice spare for Mike Morgan in the 8th frame. Now Rob Berkiel will look for some more bonus money and to nail the coffin closed on Mike Morgan. It's a 38-pin lead in the match with 2 boxes to go. And Berkiel tries to close the door right there. 9 in the spare, and the 5-pin stands. And he missed the spare. Looks over at the scoreboard.
Can't believe he did it.
Missed the bonus money opportunity. That was a $50 shot. 132 with a box to go. Rob Berkiel will advance. It would take a miracle finish. Well, mathematically it's possible, but it's just not likely.
Well, he can throw 4 strikes max. 167 possible.
That's a 9 box to finish at a 141.
And a 381 triple. And 4 strikes would give him a 1-pin victory for Mike Morgan. He can win if he throws 4 strikes. Well, stranger things have happened.
He gave it a run on the first one, but that will end the match.
So maybe some bonus money as he heads out the door with his runner-up check for $400.
Missed the spare. And a 9 box. So it will be Rob Berkiel advancing to the championship match against Gary Carrington next week in the finals of the Tournament of Champions. And we'll come back to meet our bowlers in a moment as Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues on WNDS TV 50. Final score was Rob Berkiel 381, Mike Morgan 348. A check for $400 goes to Mike Morgan, and it just didn't seem as though you found a groove today.
I still get paid?
You still get paid.
No, that was terrible, but I mean, hey, Rob did a good job. I just had no rhythm whatsoever. Thought I might get a slimmer hope there, and he got up and threw spare 8 spare, and that was it. I only needed 4 strikes at the end. I guess I couldn't do it.
Well, it was a great season for the Morgan brothers. We look forward to seeing you next year. Thanks again. Mike
Thank you,
Morgan,
Mike.
ladies and gentlemen, our runner-up here this afternoon, and now our winner, Rob Berkiel, will roll a ball, and we'll try to match it up with a winner from our bonus ball contest drum. It is an 8, almost at 7. Then Mike Morgan digs in to the drum, which is full of postcards.
Did you call me Mike Morgan?
Mike Moran. Did I say Mike Morgan? Mike Moran.
Don't call me that today.
I'm sorry about that.
I'm kidding.
It is a 7 on this card, and it is Maurice Lavoie, 11 Oak Grove Terrace, Nashua. 7 was the pick. Incorrect. A set of mugs from N&R Trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts, goes to Maurice Lavoie. And 10 strings of bowling from Leda Lanes in Nashua goes to Julianne Sawyer of Lowell, Massachusetts, the second card pick. It will ring Rob Berkiel in. Rob wins $70 in bonus money, in addition to a shot at the grand prize of $1,500 next week in the Tournament of Champions. Congratulations, 381. Not too shabby this afternoon.
No, but they were falling tough. Mike struggled a little bit. You know, he's one of the best out there, and I'm looking forward to bowling Gary because he's definitely one of the best. And hopefully we can get the ball working a little bit better and make it interesting.
In the third string where you saw Mike try to make a run, you seemed to notch it up a little bit in intensity. A concerted effort on your part not to let it slip away?
Yes, because I know Mike can throw 6 marks in a row like nothing. And if I didn't keep my head in there and just try to get as many marks as possible, he'd beat me out. And so I tried my best to just hang in there and hold my head above water.
Congratulations to you. We'll see you next week in the championship match. Rob Berkiel, ladies and gentlemen.
Here, Rob.
Our winner this afternoon, and that sets it up. It's number 3 seed Berkiel against the top seed Gary Carrington. for the championship.
That's right, $2,100 in combined prize money up for grabs next week. We've come all this way to get to next week's match, Carrington and Berkiel.
We'll look forward to seeing you two as well as we wind up the season with our championship match. The Tournament of Champions comes to an end next week with Gary Carrington and Rob Berkiel. For Mike Morin and our entire WNDS TV 50 crew, I'm Dick Lutz at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. So long, everyone. We'll see you next time on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50.